Hey there, and welcome back to Olive Gray Avenue. I'm Ruth, and today I have my husband Steve here with us. That is mainly because he did most of the work this week, so I thought we might as well have him here too. So for the first episode of the One Room Challenge, we did all the plans we have for the half bathroom, everything I have planned for that space and what I want to do, all the projects and everything. So if you missed that episode, I will link it here above.
This week, we're sharing all the progress we've made, and that's from the demo day where we took down the vanity, we took all the pieces of hardware off, and we took the mirror out, and then we went into some painting as well as installing the new vanity. So there's still a whole bunch more to come, so don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below to follow along with this whole series. You're gonna see me a whole bunch.
So let's get started with demo day.
Demo. So here we have the sink, and there's the connections for the sink. Drainage that goes into the wall is about maybe 2 or 3 inches below where we need it to be. On the back, there's this little bar here. The problem is that since it's low, it actually slams into this. And here's a rough drawing of where it actually is outlined. Now what we're gonna do is cut that out with our multi-tool. So we'll just plunge cut right into it. Nice straight lines, cut a nice little square out, and it still leaves this down here. Not much of a support, but hey. And then we'll have to put the piping all together so that it can go right into that. And the only reason we're doing that is just for testing so that the sink can get as close to the wall as possible to see how close it is, and if it's not close enough yet, because this is 3/4 inches of baseboard, it's not gonna hit the wall. We want it to hit the wall because we're not putting the backsplash on it because we're building our own backsplash. So we're gonna have to mark off down here where that is, use the same fancy tool, and cut it out, little indents for the legs, so that it sits right up flush against the wall. Don't forget your hearing protection. Let's get flat. Always cut inside your lines, so that way you can just flush them out afterwards. And because you're in the back, you want to try to get them as nice and straight as possible, but don't worry too much if you go off a little or you scuff. This is the back. What you don't want is the front to look all gross. So mark off your lines where they need to be. And now when you come in, you just hold your hand steady and straight to go all the way across. And now we do a little fine tuning with this guy to fit in here. Now, if we see that it doesn't fit, we can just extend out just a little bit. Let's try to edge out here because that's exactly where that line was drawn. We're just gonna try to clean it up a little bit. Ta-da! Spinning free. Make sure you maintain all your parts and pieces kind of together. You can see here that it's lined up with that tube there. But I'm going to push this all the way back in because one of the main purposes of doing all this cutting first is, like I said before, to make sure that it hits the wall, because we're not actually going to have a backsplash back here, right? We're going to be putting something else. So it needs to actually be as close as possible to this wall so that the backsplash, that's not the one that came with it, the custom one if you will, rides right on there. All right. Now what I can do is I can show you guys down below what we have going on. So that part's measured in, like I just said. That's gonna be a little bit bent because we're like right on that edge, right? So we can either take off that those covers there. They may stop us from going flush on the wall, which means we'll just take that off. Maybe put a smaller one, maybe use caulking instead. But this part fits, and now down below, it's not hitting the wall yet. And what we need to do is I'm gonna come in here and mark off the line there with a pencil. I'm gonna first level out this entire thing. Always level and square your things off first. So we're gonna put a line there and the line over here after we level it. And we'll be able to see what I need to cut out with this fancy dancy machine. So it's a lot of baseboard being removed, but wherever we do remove baseboard, we're just gonna re-caulk in and it should be good to go. Okay, so now the sink's back out of the way. We've leveled it out and then pushed it right against the wall so that we can try to get rid of this baseboard here. So kind of just use a pencil and mark off. That's the leg, that's the shelf that sits underneath it, and that's the other leg. Looks pretty good if I use it. So now we're gonna use the multi-tool once again. I'm gonna cut the shape out itself, and if this piece comes with it, it comes with it. But the bottom piece should stay there. We'll leave that there just for the added look. And for stability, I guess. Because once it sits in there, it'll just lay on top of that. And it'll be nice and stable. So now we're gonna do some cutting. I'm not that flexible, this hurts. So, but in this time, unlike the other one where I was kind of just trying to like plunge, cut, plunge in, because I have this long line, it's gonna take forever. So I made one plunge and then turned it sideways and kind of just followed the line. It makes it nice, like a fresher, more clean, straight cut. Now that I've done the outline, I need to go all the way in. So something you can do to help out, right? Let's say you really don't want to mess this up. You just make a mark right there to say, hey, this is the edge, right? Do not go past this part. Now you can do that with a little bit of tape. Once I hit that, I'm like, okay, that's the wall. And I can do that for the rest of the way. Remember to kind of take breaks. These are like thin aluminum or something. They get hot, hot. So you can start scoring and burning, which it should be fine. Just don't start a fire. Look at that. I can just go ahead, once this has been cut here, is take the caulk off. Hey, look, there was a nail. Now the next part is to kind of test it out, make sure that we didn't, go in and out of the lines, smooth things out. We can put the entire thing up to here, and then if something hits, just come in here with this guy and just flush it out. It hit here already. It's a little angled, but we already hit this capsule thing because it's as big as the drywall or the baseboard itself. So we gotta take those off for this to hit flush on the back. Let's get to cutting. Get to the very end. I don't want to cut into that tube because bad things will happen. I don't really feel like learning how to do that. After all, it's just plastic, y'all. Let's try again. See where we're at.
It's in, y'all.
Yay! So, see, we cut that off. Now we're able to go right up to the wall in both locations. It's no big dealio. You can even patch that up if you really, really want to. So now, the next part here, we can set this up. Sure, right? This guy's still loose, okay? And I can go in as a fair amount. So right in there, maybe to make sure this is gonna go straight. So it's gonna go, a fair long ways in there, right, for our drainage. This portion here is too tall. I don't wanna try to put in some, 90-degree elbows and another one and turn it into an S trap instead of this, B trap. What we need to do is down here, like mark this off, see where it's gonna be. Just kind of measure with everything straight where this needs to be, and then cut out so it hangs down. Underneath this shelf, you can't really see anything. Plus, this whole area is covered with a little door, and you can put some nonsense in. I don't know what's going to go in here, right? But the important part is that we can carve into this just a hole all the way through. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to need to put the gear on this to straighten this out. We're going to start kind of putting things on here, and we need to see how much we got to drop. Looks like we got to drop about maybe an inch, inch and a half. But while it's like this, I need this to straighten out, because then that's going to straighten out my P-drop. Life with a toddler. Just a child just crying in the background, right? Like, who needs like cool YouTube music when you have a child yelling and crying in the background because he wants the Power Rangers to be turned back on? And then mom's like, no, you can't have Power Rangers because you're being a butthole. Just hand tight. So being hand tight, we'll put this at the angle that it's going to be, right? Nice and straight. And then that lets us try to put this trap in here, and we'll see exactly where we need to cut. What we should really do is make sure we have all the seals in place to make sure that this is going to go on properly. Oh, I messed that up. So now we just take our pencil, and I can mark the edge of the P-trap here, right? I can try to carve out just this size. You'd be like, oh, just carve this out. Well, I can't, because this is just the very bottom of the trap, and the trap comes out at this angle like this, right? Slightly, but just like at this angle. So as I go deeper, I need the hole to be wider. So I know I don't need just barely the bottom of the belly going out. I need all of it. So that I can either carve something at this angle, or I can just carve something that big, knowing it'll go around. There we have it. Ta-da!
I know you're sitting on the edge of your seats waiting to see how this ends, but sadly this is where we leave you. This is only week 2 of an 8-week journey, and so
Can't show everything at once, can you? But normally, when you're installing a new vanity, you want to go ahead and finish it off by putting in your faucets and your hardware and putting all that plumbing in and making sure, it actually works. But at this time, we can't do that because we're going to be tackling the tiling behind it, and it's going to include a whole lot of grout, and we're going to be doing some of that mortar, and we don't want it to get all over our nice fancy hardware that we just got for it, so we're going to have to wait on that one.
So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below to follow along with our journey week by week and see how this transformation ends up.
It's going to be good.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
You ready? It's recording.
Action. Excuse me. I know someone watching the video said bless you. I hope you did. If you did, I love you.
Bye. Peace.
Peace. I did it. I did it.
You did it!